Hey everybody, it's me, Ian, aka the Monster, and I'm here to deliver the next installment in my Supervillains Explored series. So, today we're going to be talking about one of the dynamic duo of the unholy Marvel Universe, Blackheart, the son of Mephisto. Blackheart for this is actually an arch enemy of Ghost Rider, but he actually first appeared in a Daredevil comic, Daredevil number 270 to be exact, where his very first endeavor, um, back when he was still early in his career, was to basically try to tempt and corrupt Daredevil and Spider-Man and sort of turn them evil. And that's sort of what Blackheart started doing early on in his comic book tenure. You see, Blackheart was he was sort of, I use the word born very loosely, but you could say that he was born in this really horrid place in New York called Christ's Crown. And what happened is that Mephisto, the physical embodiment of Satan in the Marvel universe, he basically gathers all of the negative and evil energy that gathered around Christ's crown, because even though the place is called Christ's Crown, it's actually a place where there was a lot of horrible crimes against humanity taking place. Like there were a lot of like mass murders and like and like executions and stuff. And so after a girl was raped and very brutally murdered in Christ's Crown, that was sort of the most recent event that happened that sort of ignited Blackheart's creation. Mephisto gathered all of the negative energy and he used it, and it was powerful and hyper enough to actually form into a being of pure evil and blackness, which Mephisto called Blackheart. And so Blackheart sort of became Mephisto's son, and Mephisto sort of trained Blackheart to be just as good of a tormenting demon as his father is. Now, of course, like father, like son, Blackheart is a very sadistic, vindictive sort of character. He enjoys basically going around trying to turn heroes evil, trying to, tempt them and try to corrupt them. That's sort of what Blackheart's main motivation is. But eventually, Blackheart rebels against his father, like all kids do. Well, actually, hang on. It's a bit early for me to be talking about that. No, basically what happens is that Blackheart, uh, he tries to impress his father by trying to turn a few superheroes evil. What I mentioned earlier with Daredevil and Spider-Man, Blackheart tries to turn them evil, and when that happens, Mephisto depowers him big time so that he can sort of so that Blackheart can become a little bit can god damn it. Take two. So that Blackheart can learn a lesson, because Mephisto was sort of punishing him for his failure. Blackheart got real pissed off about that, so he recruited a few he recruited some anti-heroic type characters like Wolverine and the Punisher, as well as a couple of Inhumans such as Gorgon and Karnak. And under his influence, all these characters just basically succeeded at dethroning Mephisto. So Blackheart actually successfully managed to usurp Mephisto as the ruler of Hell. And for a while, Blackheart was the undisputed king of Hell. And because of that, he used his newfound power to fight and try to kill Ghost Rider. He would have a few battles with both Johnny Blaze and Daniel Ketch. And even when Johnny Blaze actually becomes his alternate form, which is Noble Kale, who is the original Ghost Rider, Or actually, no, wait, damn it. That's another thing I mentioned a little too early. You can see I'm not doing very well today. Yeah, but anyways, uh, Blackheart, as I said, he has a few supervillains entrapped in hell, and he basically enjoys torturing them. And then, oh yeah, and then whenever Ghost Rider as Noble Kale actually comes into hell, he actually manages to destroy and dethrone Blackheart. Not destroy, but he manages to basically he defeats Blackheart in a fight, and he pretty much he shows everybody how worthless Blackheart really is, and he sort of banishes him from hell. And since then, Blackheart has actually ended up in the Hellfire Club. Yeah, that's right. Blackheart actually became a prominent member of the Hellfire Club. And we haven't really heard from him since. I'm serious. That's really all I know about Blackheart in the comics. From what I've seen, from all the comics I've read, Blackheart is not he really has not been done much in the actual Marvel comics, which is strange considering how popular he is outside of the comics, considering that in he's been featured in many video games, such as Marvel vs. Capcom and Marvel superheroes fighting games. Not to mention the fact that he was very unfaithfully portrayed in the live action Ghost Rider movie as a very wimpy, emo, freaking Robert Pattinson Twilight looking son of a bitch who has the ability to turn people into emptied out, hollow corpses just by touching them, and he can apparently smell the fear in people or some shit like that. God, I'm sorry, this was not a very good interpretation of the character. First of all, his appearance sucks. I mean, I could accept the fact that he's trying to be a human for the sake of being a human, just to sort of blend in. But in the final battle, he just what the hell happens? He turns into like this black skinned like demon thing. He doesn't turn into Blackheart. Okay? This isn't Blackheart. This is Blackheart. He's a gigantic, muscular, or alien looking motherfucker with tendrils coming out of his head. This is scary. You can't possibly have me believe that they couldn't do this in live action. That is bullshit. There are plenty of ways you could have done this in live action. And plus, Blackheart, he didn't even scare me that much in the live action Ghost Rider movie. Blackheart, as a villain to me, he's always been really scary and disturbing. Like, for example, he actually rallied up an army of spirits of vengeance to actually fight Ghost Rider, and just to make Johnny Blaze he's even more disturbed and angry, he actually summoned the spirit of Johnny Blaze's old girlfriend, Roxanne Simpson. Okay? Yeah, Blackheart is pretty fucked up in the head. He's a pretty evil guy. And you can definitely say that now that I'm doing a video about Blackheart, you can tell the next video is going to be about Mephisto. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a lot to say about Blackheart because he just isn't very active in the comics. I do think he's an awesome and very underrated villain, but I think the writers need to do more stuff with him. Maybe he could be involved in this new Fear Itself thing that Marvel's got cooking up. But, yeah. The next video, as I said, the next video is going to be about Mephisto. So, stay tuned.